In our mug moment today, we look at the third act of righteousness as part of our faith journey, the other two being generosity and prayer. Today, Jesus is talking about fasting. Now remember, he wants us to consider our motives when we're doing some of these activities. It's in Matthew 6, 16 to 18, where he says, "When you fast, don't make it obvious as the hypocrites do, for they try to look miserable and disheveled, so people will admire them for their fasting. I tell you the truth, it's the only reward they'll ever get. But when you fast, comb your hair and wash your face. Then no one will notice that you are fasting except your Father, who knows what you do in private, and your Father who sees everything will reward you." There are many reasons throughout Scripture for doing a fast, and a long list of people like Daniel, Moses, Esther, Paul, and yes, Jesus, who did one. So fasting can be a good thing. But as Jesus shares here, the important thing is our motives behind the fast. Why are we doing it? A few years ago, I had a friend who was doing a fast for a few weeks over the lunchtime. He gave up eating with his buddies at work and instead went off by himself to spend some intentional time with Jesus. He read some scripture, journaled, prayed, and yes, he did a fast. I asked him why he started doing this every day. He said there were a few reasons why. First, it was because the guys that he regularly ate with were going through a phase of not acting very godly. Lots of gossip, complaining, and using colorful metaphors. So he took a break from them to spend some intentional time with God. He also decided to add fasting as an extra element to those activities. He took the money that he would have used for lunch and gave it to a local food bank. He fasted both from food and from a situation that was taking him away from God, and instead he spent time with God, and he was blessed. Another way to do it, a family that I know did a different kind of fast. They fasted from technology for a day a week. They called it Tech-Free Tuesdays. They would set aside their phones, TVs, computers, video games every Tuesday for a couple months, and instead they would spend intentional time together as a family. Hikes, playing games, trips to parks, fishing, and yes, reading the Bible and praying together as a family. They did all kinds of things, but most importantly, they worked on their relationships with each other, and they were blessed. If you choose to fast in some fashion, the important thing that Jesus shares here is not doing it to bring attention to yourself. Instead, do it with two things in mind: loving God and loving others. If that's your focus, God will bless it, because those are two things that God is all about. So maybe spend some time in prayer asking God what a good fast for you could look like. Be blessed.